What's happening, man? It's O.A.K, man, and man, I'm in here with my man Smoke. You know what I mean? Getting it in like we always do. You feel me? Yeah, I feel like the status of Bay music right now is kind of like that rebuilding team that has seen their better days. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and that just happens. It's like the cycles. You know what I mean? Everything takes on, you know, renewals and you know, building and destroying and build it back strong again. I mean, you see that all the time in sports, and it's kind of like that with the Bay music, man. It's like it used to be a time where it was a lot of artists from the Bay that I could just count off. Like, man, I fuck with them. I mean, just got through knocking this and that. But today, you know, it ain't really too much like that. You know what I'm saying? For me, you know, the way I see it, you know. We got a lot of potential to get back to the days that we were before, you know, but, you know, it's not, I wouldn't put so much emphasis on the Bay. It's a whole coast thing, though, when you really think about it, though. It's like when you put the West Coast platinum artists up against the South platinum artists, it don't even compare. When you put the West Coast platinum artists against the East Coast platinum artists, it don't compare. We got like platinum artists over here you can name on one hand, but at the same time, this is the same side that's been, we'll say, borrowed from the most, you know. So, you know, it's just, like I say, I think the Bay is having a hard time trying to conform to today's music of the mainstream. I think that's a big problem, you know, because the Bay got their own way of doing things, you know. We may differ from San Francisco and Oakland and, you know, other surrounding cities, but at the same time, we all got something in common. It's just, you know, at the same time, though, you know. So I think we're having a hard time conforming to the mainstream way of doing things, you know. I see a lot of skinny jeans and, you know, the chains hanging out the pockets and, you know, a lot of reference to homosexual rappers are just, you know, popping up and whatnot, and they being accepted. It's like, you know, it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, like I say, the mainstream, it is what it is. I mean, we see what they pushing, so I think that's one of the major problems that we having. You know, kind of like we was talking about a little earlier, you know, like with the keeping it real. You know, it's like, you know, you keep it so real that you can't really play the game. I wouldn't really say it's being stolen, you know, because I feel like, you know, once you contribute to music, you know, you made your contribution to music. So it shouldn't be why y'all got music that sound like something that we made. It's like that really don't make sense. You know what I mean? Now, if you having problems with marketing your music and selling your music, then say that. But don't make it a point because somebody from another coast took a sound and played the string 3 seconds longer than East Coast and other you know, other people in other places use it, and now it's a problem. I mean, you know, and even when I heard, you know, Fab on the Breakfast Club, he wasn't even saying it was a problem, you know, but it's just like the recognition. No, you know, people want to be recognized, and yeah, that's cool, but I don't like, you know, I don't think you have to at the beginning of his beat, like, I had the Bay in mind when I made this track, and then let the beat go. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want them to do? You know? So no, I don't feel like it's being stolen. You know, we borrow from all different places. You know, you might hear me say something that sound like some cats from Brooklyn might have said. You know, I mean, so, or a rapper from the East Coast, or a rapper from down south. I don't, you know, didn't really see it as stealing because I didn't have to have it. I could have wrote something else. It wasn't that serious. You know, you make a contribution to music. You know, that's just what it is, and it's there. It's like a library for anybody to use at any given time. Once you make the contribution, if you didn't want it to be like that, then you shouldn't have never made music for millions of people to listen to. That kind of don't make no sense. Well, like I was saying, man, the Bay Area is having a hard time conforming to the mainstream or the industry, which is the mainstream. Chances are you won't see a lot of Bay Area artists on TRL and MTV and stations like these with their videos because, like I say, conforming to the way that you have to be and the music that you have to make. The Bay Area is not producing that type of music right now. I'm not gonna say that the music is not good music. It's just not the music that's mainstreamly accepted. Now a lot of music that's made because the Bay Area is a special type of place. It ain't no other place like the Bay Area. That is like the natives there pretty much got a certain feel for the music. It's just like if you go down to New Orleans and they playing bounce music. Now, I'm not really too familiar with listening to a lot of bounce music, but down south, that's what it is in New Orleans. You know what I mean? So it's the same way out here in the Bay. It's a certain sound. Some like to call it mob music. Mob music's really not mainstreamly accepted right now. And at the same time, that's what we know. So how does that translate over into the mainstream? Well, it doesn't. And that's where we have the conflict, So, I don't know. I'm not going to tell dudes to, change their sexual preference and start wearing funny style clothes and dresses and shit. And, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to get O.A.K to tell you that. I'm just going to say that, it's just certain shit that you got to do, like I say, to get on, as people say, I think the Bay done already contributed enough to the industry, It's already kind of give you the feeling of a slap in the face when you see people take phrases and swag that comes from the Bay and they go take it to another region and they do numbers, and we've been saying the same thing and it's like it don't reflect the same numbers, so already feeling that, feel like we already contributed enough to the industry. I feel like it's time for the industry to kind of contribute back in the terms of showing more attention or focus on the Bay and the artists and the talent that's here in the Bay. It's like we don't have a voice or a representation here in the Bay. I feel like, some of the old heads and the rappers that, that's been around, I feel like they could do a lot more in their efforts to keep this thing moving. But at the same time, if you looking at me as competition, then how are we ever going to advance? You holding on to your 2,000-3,000 units sold every project and don't want to, let the new blood in. You don't want to show them the way or take them to the majors, that you used to be on. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fend for self in the Bay as well because it's a drought. So the artists are pretty much surviving off their fan bases, they small fan bases, and it's enough to to hold them over to another project. So as far as the industry goes, the industry is really not paying too much attention to the Bay Area right now. What's happening, man? It's O.A.K.